the powers that be, the New World Order, needs the private mercenary army to fill the gap when the American military decides, the grunts, the hardworking guys, decide they're not going to follow these orders. I mean, they're out there saying it. So these mercenary forces like Blackwater, like American Police Force, are there to fill the void.
Well, they certainly are. But I know Ron Paul got more contributions than anybody else from the military, and I know I run into a lot of even TSA people when I'm flying that are fans and want my signature. The majority of them, it's freaking me out. But then I go to places like Billings, Montana, and they were the worst Nazis I've ever seen, harassing old ladies, us, really embarrassing. I was embarrassed for them. Sickening. Power trip. But you look at yesterday, 400 people show up in the park. They're peaceful. They're told you're not allowed to protest. They arrest them. G20, old women coming out of stores with bags going, what's going on, officer? Shut up, bitch. Hitting her with clubs, police dogs attacking her, and then the cops defend it. Driving down neighborhoods, hitting 9-year-old kids in their front yard playing football. I mean, the cops were out of control. My guys got footage hiding in stores of them just driving around, attacking anybody on the street. Then they go over and attack the university 2 nights in a row. My guys weren't there on the 24th, so I said, go over there on the 25th. They surrounded the park, wouldn't let the media out, arrested Rob Dew, beat up Luke Radowski, and then charged Dew with stuff the night before, even though he wasn't even there. He's charged with the 24th. And we've called the prosecutor, and you're like, that's the way it is. We don't care if it's the wrong day. Go to hell's. I mean, it's just a criminal government. And the National Guard was ready to fire sound cannons at people. The police enjoyed running up to women. I mean, little, college girls and going, and hitting them with clubs. I mean, and then hitting them again when they try to get up. So I don't know. I mean, I know there's a lot of police and military say they're awake, but I think under peer pressure, if they told them to take a 2-year-old baby and shoot it in the back of the head, I think they'd do it.
We had our own cameraman out there for our show, The Reality Report, Lee. He was rounded up right alongside Lee, and all he was doing, or he was rounded up right alongside Luke, and all he was doing was pointing a camera in the direction of tyranny. These police, like you say, when they're lined up, when they've got all their body armor on, they've got their gas. Yes, there is a gang mentality that takes over, and they want that paycheck. So, we have to get to the police and military. We have to reach out to them. They are the front lines, and we have to wake them up, too.
Well, absolutely. Well, let me get into the Hardin situation. We found out last Sunday. I heard about it Friday, didn't check into it, but not this Sunday, but the Sunday before, like 10, 11 days ago, we found out that this guy was a felon. We found out he had aliases. We found out he was tied into these other defense contractors. We found out he didn't have a license to take over the giant detention center, $27 million. They were policing the town. They had gone to city council saying, we're going to be your new police. That's now admitted in the news, Billings Gazette. And I went to Hardin, and the locals were most of them were fans of the show. It blew me away. But the constabulary, the local sheriff's people and others, they were on power trips saying, why don't you get out of here? You don't belong around here. But this guy's from Serbia. Well, we like him. And I would say, but he's a convicted felon. He's a con artist. He doesn't have the money to lease this facility. He's in a police uniform. He's just going to suck off the town. He's a convicted 14-time grand, theft criminal. He wants to be in a badge and gun, a true criminal regime. And they said, we don't care if he's a criminal. Some of the locals told me, because they felt like they were part of the establishment, and they said, no, he's real. Now, he's the head of American Police Force. Then they called up a lawyer who was supposedly the head, and he said, no, I'm not even part of it. Now, they described the Two Rivers Authority meeting last night in the Billings Gazette as if the one guy was bad who'd said, I don't want to be part of this, and this is a fraud. The other members were still saying, we want to do this deal. So even when they know it's a con artist, know it's a fraud, know it's a scam, the locals wanted to literally police the town themselves and literally be predators. And here it is, red flags cause Montana officials to nix American Police Force deal. There was no deal. It was a scam. California judge orders head of Hardin Jail Project to court for millions of dollars of fraud. Two Rivers Board raises questions about Hardin prison contract. It's all of fraud. APF frontman loses credibility in Hardin. The reason I bring this up, guys, is that if mercenaries can just show up, and he did have German and other mercenaries with him, and think they're just going to, and they were going to get away with it till we got involved, the listeners especially. And we are blamed by the locals for stopping it. They're very angry. They're not mad that we warned them about a con artist. They wanted to be part of it. They wanted to do this. They loved him. It was, thugs loving thugs. That in America, any type of criminal operation can just take over as long as it's wearing a badge. Gary Franchi?
Well, they are willing to take the money and run. That's what it comes down to, They get these big promises from this guy, this fraud, this charlatan, to come into town like the snake oil salesman. I'm gonna boost your economy. I'm gonna bring all these jobs, and I'm gonna employ all of your people. That's all they saw. That's all they saw. They didn't look at the repercussions. They just saw the dollar sign.
I want to get William Lewis's take on this, but there's the big development. He did meet with a bunch of big defense contractors. He was talking about contracting with them there, but they aren't involved. There are no backers. It's all a complete fraud. And the local town boss hogs, they love it.
Are you concerned for the safety of your loved ones? Listen closely to this message from pepperspray.com. Every 22 seconds a violent crime is committed. America has changed, and your personal safety is your first priority. Be smart. Be safe. Trust Pepper Spray instead of your luck. Pepperspray.com is the only website you'll ever need for all of your non-lethal self-defense supplies. Pepperspray.com carries one of the largest assortments of pepper spray and personal safety products on the web. From big to small, we have it all. Pepper spray, mace, animal repellents, stun guns, and tasers. Pepperspray.com also carries a large assortment of products for personal, home, child, and pet safety. Enter SAFE in the coupon box and you'll receive a special discount off of your order. So what are you waiting for? Go to pepperspray.com. That's pepperspray.com or call 1-800-908-9988 today.
We're going to open the phones up in the next hour on any issue you wish to discuss at 1-800-259-9231. William Lewis, the director of Camp FEMA, available right now at Infowars.com. We also have it discounted when you get it, when you pre-order it with the film coming out in just about a week and a half. And that, of course, is Fall of the Republic. I'm so excited about this documentary. William, your comments on the mercenaries, your comments on this story of how when they even knew he was a fraud and a scam and wanted to police the locals, they just said, big deal. So what? I mean, it's just, we have this criminal class in control of our local governments and our federal government, and it's just going to get worse and worse until we realize this. Government is not a license to steal for all the boss hog scum that runs it.
Well, all those people are, more than happy to participate in this policing program and be under the control of Mr. Culver, but I doubt very many of those people would feel the same way if he were allowed to carry through with this plan. I was reading an article by Dee Kidd, and she's released some information in this article that he's actually an executive with the security firm International SOS out of Pennsylvania, and ISOS provides security services and says that it's the world's largest medical and security assistance company. It's the biggest one. You look on their page under, their capabilities page and their pandemic preparedness page, and they've got all sorts of plans for medical evacuation and you name it. I doubt very seriously that people of that town are going to feel the same way when there's a flu pandemic or any kind of outbreak or whatever the excuse they want to use, that the sheriff needs to go around and start rounding people up.
Well, what the locals do, and I want to be clear, we have footage of this. We're walking down Main Street. Every other car stops. People are running up. They're fans of the show. We run into some great people in Hardin. But then the small minority of fat cats, they would run up and say, you say there's barricades and that flu's been released here. We would never say that. Our guest would bring up the point of, hey, could this be for a flu pandemic? Why are they policing the town? Why is the guy? And then they would spin it like they said mustard was mustard gas. We didn't even bring up the mustard comment. She did. And we said, yeah, it said that, for alien detainees. It's what they call, enemy combatants. They admitted this. And they spun it that I said aliens were in cryogenic tubes. So the locals tried to put up a smoke screen, the local boss hogs that wanted this, that we were talking about aliens and mustard gas and that the town was a giant FEMA camp. But see, that didn't work. The Attorney General, the FBI's after them now. Their crap didn't work. So what these hucksters do in every case is they just throw out, you're a conspiracy theorist. But if somebody's walking out of your house with your TV set and your family jewels, they're robbing you. It doesn't matter if they call you a conspiracy theorist. That doesn't work at a certain point. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, this is nothing new that the media is doing, and those are the same terms that they've used over and over again.